Finding that bottle of bourbon that you've been looking for is a great feeling, but how much you pay for that and how hard it was to find definitely makes a difference. The way alcohol is distributed can be different from state to state. I live in North Carolina, which is a controlled state. Most of us only get to see the customer side of the transaction. I wanted to see the perspective from the retail side, so I knew exactly where I wanted to go.
I'm Barley from Lexington, North Carolina. I manage one of the best ABC stores in the state. Not to be biased, but yeah. So North Carolina is a control state. So with a control state, your government is kind of built to where there's a central office that then goes to municipality levels that helps distribute spirits to the public. With a control state, your laws are written at a higher up, but they're pushed through and followed by folks like me. And then each individual store is within a board, so it's a bunch of circles, follow me. But you got your store, there can be up to, I think the highest we have is 31 stores in a single board. And then there's 176 boards across the state. So that kind of showed you how big the picture is. Only 100 counties, so there's a bunch of tiny cities that have boards. It's really cool. It's pretty wild. There's a lot of pros. I think one of the best pros that we've seen recently is whenever you can find an allocated product, you're not going to be raked over the coals for your pricing. Another pro with that is, for the most part, you kind of, as a consumer, get to go and decide what that store is going to carry, whether it be word of mouth or just with your dollar. You get to make those choices. And then the third thing is distributions. Each board has to pay out a set percentage by the state, and it actually usually increases every year, distributions financially to their local communities. I think this year alone, we have given over $1.2 billion back to the state, which is pretty cool. Your nice drinks can give nice things. New school chairs, new cop cars, pretty cool stuff. One of the hardest things about a controlled state is if you're in a bourbon club. Sometimes there might be a brand you want to do a barrel pick with. It is a little harder. There's some brokerages that have to be followed. And then on top of that, sometimes those brands, they go, oh, well, it's a control state, it's a little slower, and it is a little slower to move in. But, at the end of the day, tit for tat, usually your pricing's a little better. But, and then on top of that, I do believe maybe there's some limitations to transparency at some boards. The way we operate, we let you know when we have it and when we're going to put it out. I know there's been some boards that aren't so clean. But yeah, it's pros and cons in one on that one for sure. I think one thing that we could change is becoming more retail forward. And this is my personal opinion. Right now, we're not allowed to advertise. So if I get a new product, I can tell you about it, but my board can't tell you about it. And we could actually improve revenue for our cities and our police departments and schools if we were able to advertise, quote unquote. So the biggest thing that we push here in Lexington is customer service. And it's something, the joke we make when we hire you on, if you put an application in and can't get an interview today, is this is not the DMV. And if you shop at a North Carolina ABC board, you know what that feels like. It feels like you're walking into the DMV and you're purchasing liquor from someone who's like, did you bring your birth certificate? Like, it doesn't feel like a retail establishment. I've kept a really good crew here. They got great chemistry. They all work well together. And it takes a lot of time and patience to get them into the position they need to be in to do that. But for the most part, when you come into my store, you feel like you're supposed to be shopping there. And if we don't know it, we find someone who does, or we look it up with you. So then that's the thing. When you come to Lexington's ABC, it's supposed to feel like your store. We don't want it to just feel like a store. We want it to feel like your store. So if I could give you advice, if you're new to bourbon, number one, make a list of the 3 things you want to get in a year, and don't do BTAC, but pick 3 things that you want to chase for the year, and then hope you get one. Talk to people. Go to the drops. I know you think you're wasting your time, but go. Network with people. Make friends. If you can't get the bottle and someone else does, well, go across the parking lot and talk to that dude. When he opens it, he might send you a sample. And if you got something he hasn't seen yet, maybe he'll trade with you and do a handshake. Those are good. Another thing, just post a little bit. Post that you're having a couple drinks, and that'll have people come out to you and talk to you about it. But don't just get discouraged. Talk to some of the old guys that's been in it. Drink some of the bottom shelfers. There's some good ones down there. Drink some of the mids, and don't spend more than $700 on a bottle. Just my opinion.
Facts.
Each state is different, and North Carolina is no exception. Let me know how it is where you are. Cheers.